Wisdom seekers, have you ever felt as though life is slipping through your fingers, as though each day blends into the next with no real progress, no transformation, no meaning? You wake up, follow the same routine, chase the same distractions, and by nightfall, you wonder, where did the hours go? What if I told you there is a secret to breaking free from this cycle? A hidden code embedded deep within the greatest minds of history, waiting for you to uncover it? This code is not locked away in ancient temples or buried under centuries of dust. It exists within you, in the very fabric of your being. It is the code of discipline, of transformation, of mastery over the self. And once you unlock it, your life will never be the same again. But here's the paradox. This code has been in plain sight all along. The Stoics knew it. The samurai lived by it. The great philosophers spoke of it in whispers, fearing that the masses would never be ready to grasp its power. But you, wisdom seeker, you are ready. That is why you are here. Today, you will learn 8 habits that have the power to reshape your mind, forge your spirit, and elevate your existence in just 1 week. Yes, 1 week. Not because change is easy, but because the moment you truly commit, time bends in your favor. These are not ordinary habits. They are the foundation upon which legends are built. They are the same principles that forged emperors, warriors, and thinkers whose names echo through eternity. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Our chains are not made of iron, but of thought, of hesitation, of delay. This video is your key to breaking free. But be warned, what you're about to hear is not for the weak, not for those who wish to remain comfortable in their suffering. This is for the few who dare to rise, who dare to reclaim their power, who dare to become something greater than they were yesterday. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Every like, subscribe helps us continue our mission of sharing knowledge. And leave a comment below and share your opinion on these habits, or tell me which one resonates with you the most. Are you ready to rewrite your destiny? Then listen closely. For the first habit is where the transformation begins. Habit 1. Master the art of voluntary discomfort. Wisdom seekers, imagine this. You wake up in a bed that's too soft. The air in the room is the perfect temperature, and your breakfast is waiting for you, hot and ready. Everything is comfortable, everything is easy, and yet something in you feels off. The comfort that surrounds you is suffocating. This is not a life of strength, it's a slow decay. Seneca, the great Stoic philosopher, warned us about this very thing. He said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." We have become creatures of craving, always wanting more, always chasing ease, always avoiding discomfort. But what if I told you that true strength, true transformation, comes only through discomfort? What if, in just 1 week, you could train yourself to thrive in the very conditions you've been avoiding? This is the first habit that will change your life forever. The mastery of voluntary discomfort. Most people think of discomfort as something to be avoided. They run from the cold, from hunger, from fatigue. But the Stoics embraced discomfort because they understood its power. They saw hardship as training, a way to build resilience before life forced it upon them. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest emperors in history, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is what voluntary discomfort is all about. Training your mind before life trains it for you. You must create your own hardships before life imposes them. Because life will impose them. The only question is, will you be ready? So here's your task for this first habit. For the next 7 days, introduce discomfort into your life. Not for the sake of suffering, but for the sake of growth. Skip a meal, take a cold shower, sleep without a pillow, walk instead of driving. Face the small pains you usually avoid. At first, it will feel like suffering. Your body will resist, your mind will make excuses, but then something will shift. You will realize that you are stronger than you thought. You will see that hunger does not kill you, that the cold does not break you, that fatigue does not define you. You will experience something rare in today's world. A glimpse of true freedom, because the man who can be comfortable in discomfort is unstoppable. He does not need the perfect conditions to act. He does not wait for motivation or ideal circumstances. He simply moves, unaffected by the weather, the pain, or the opinions of others. He becomes, as the Stoics say, anti-fragile, Not just surviving difficulty, but thriving because of it. And this, my friends, is where real power lies. Not in luxury, not in comfort, but in your ability to endure what others cannot. This is where transformation begins. Habit 2. Master the death meditation. There is a moment in life that most people refuse to think about. A moment that is certain for every single one of us, yet we act as if it will never come. That moment is our final breath. Wisdom seekers, I want you to sit with this truth for a second. Imagine yourself in your last moments. Your body weak, your mind reaching back through the years. What will you see? Will you see a life lived fully, or a life wasted in hesitation and fear? Will you be proud of the man you became? The Stoics had a phrase for this: memento mori. Remember, you will die. At first, this may sound dark, even depressing, but the Stoics did not dwell on death to frighten themselves. They did it to sharpen their lives. Seneca put it best: let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Balance the books of life every day. Most men live as if they have unlimited time. They wake up every morning, assuming they will wake up again tomorrow. They waste hours, they procrastinate, they avoid doing what matters because they believe they have more time. But the truth is, we don't know how much time we have left. And that truth, if you truly let it in, can change your life in ways you cannot imagine. For the next 7 days, you will practice the death meditation. Every night, before you go to sleep, you will reflect on the possibility that this day was your last. You will ask yourself, did I live today fully? Did I waste time on things that don't matter? If I don't wake up tomorrow, will I be satisfied with how I spent this day? This is not a fantasy exercise. This is real. And if you do it with full awareness, you will begin to feel something powerful: urgency. Suddenly, the small worries that consume most people will seem laughable to you. You will stop waiting for the perfect time to do what you've always wanted. You will stop hesitating. You will move. Because if today was your last, would you spend it scrolling mindlessly through your phone? Would you waste it on distractions? Or would you reach out to the people you love? Would you pursue what truly matters? Would you finally stop caring what others think and become the man you were meant to be? Wisdom seekers, the mastery of this habit will transform you. It will strip away your illusions. It will make you see reality clearly, without the lies of someday or later. Because later is not guaranteed. Someday is not promised. All you have is now. And when you live with that truth in your heart, you become unstoppable. You become fearless. You become alive. Habit 3. Embrace the daily practice of journaling. Imagine waking up every day, not just as a passive observer of your own life, but as a conscious architect of your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Picture yourself as someone who takes full ownership of the mental landscape, who navigates the twists and turns of the day with intentionality. This is the power of journaling, and it is one of the most transformative habits you can cultivate in just 1 week. The act of journaling, writing down your thoughts, fears, victories, and reflections, might seem mundane to some. After all, how can putting words on paper possibly change the trajectory of a life? But for the Stoics, this practice was sacred. It was their way of engaging with their thoughts and emotions, of learning about themselves and refining their character. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled the Roman Empire with wisdom and grace, left us his Meditations, a personal journal that we still read today. His private reflections, written in the quiet solitude of his mind, reveal how deeply he wrestled with his inner battles, his doubts, his frustrations. They reveal a man who understood that mastery of the self began with understanding the self. Journaling isn't about writing perfectly or crafting profound thoughts every time. It's about the practice of self-reflection, the discipline of facing yourself daily, without distractions. You see, most of us live in a perpetual state of mental noise, constantly reacting to the world around us, caught in a whirlwind of thoughts that we never stop to examine. Our minds become cluttered with anxieties, regrets, desires, and fleeting emotions. But when you take the time to journal, you quiet the chaos. You give yourself the space to think deeply, to sift through the noise, and identify what truly matters. For the next 7 days, you will dedicate just 10 minutes each morning or evening to journaling. It doesn't matter where you do it, whether it's in a quiet corner of your home or on a park bench, but you must do it. You don't need to have a set structure or format. Just write. Start with simple questions. What am I feeling today? What is one thing I can control? What am I grateful for? What do I fear right now? Don't censor yourself. Don't worry about whether your thoughts are profound or insightful. Let the words flow from your mind without judgment. And over time, you will notice something remarkable happening. You will begin to separate yourself from the flood of emotions that used to control you. You will see your thoughts for what they are, not facts, not truths, just passing clouds. As you continue journaling, you will develop an awareness that will change everything. You will become an observer of your own mind, able to distinguish between what is within your control and what is not. You will stop allowing your emotions to dictate your actions, and you will begin to see patterns, habits of thought that no longer serve you. This practice, simple yet profound, will sharpen your focus, clarify your purpose, and help you make wiser decisions. It is a daily checking with your soul, and as the Stoics taught us, the journey of self-improvement begins with self-awareness. So, the act of journaling will become your most powerful tool for growth. Habit 4. Cultivate radical discipline in your daily actions. There's an ancient concept in Stoicism that we must discuss here. It's a simple yet profoundly effective tool for transforming your life, and it's something the great Stoics valued above all else. Discipline. In a world that rewards instant gratification, convenience, and fleeting pleasure, it's easy to forget that true strength is born from discipline, consistent, deliberate action toward a greater purpose. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to effortlessly rise above the chaos, who have a sense of direction and unshakable focus. What do they all have in common? They are disciplined. They don't waste time on trivialities, on distractions, on things that don't move them toward their goals. They have a daily structure, a routine that supports their values and ambitions. Now contrast that with the average person. Most people drift through their days, pulled in different directions by the latest trends, the endless distractions, and the pressure to conform. They are reactive rather than proactive, responding to whatever comes their way rather than intentionally shaping their day. And it's this lack of discipline that leads to regret, mediocrity, and unfulfilled potential. But here's the truth. You have the power to change this. For the next 7 days, I want you to take radical action to cultivate discipline in your life. Start by creating a structured morning routine that sets the tone for your entire day. This routine doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't need to be fancy, but it must be consistent. When you wake up, you should already know what comes next. No decisions, no hesitation, just a plan executed with precision. For example, your morning could begin with meditation or deep breathing exercises, followed by a short workout to activate your body, and then a review of your goals for the day. Your routine should include healthy habits that strengthen both body and mind. But most importantly, it should be non-negotiable. You must commit to following this routine every single day for the next week. No excuses. Why? Because discipline, like a muscle, must be strengthened. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And just as you wouldn't skip a day at the gym if you wanted to build physical strength, you cannot afford to skip a day in building mental strength. But here's the catch. True discipline doesn't come from forcing yourself into compliance. It comes from aligning your actions with your values. The Stoics knew that when you live in accordance with your highest ideals, discipline becomes effortless. It isn't a struggle. It's a natural outpouring of the person you are becoming. When you stop wasting time on things that don't align with your goals, you make space for the things that truly matter. You no longer fight against your own desires because your desires have been refined to serve a higher purpose. So for the next 7 days, take small but deliberate actions that align with your deepest values. Set a clear intention each day and act on it without hesitation. Whether it's eating healthier, waking up earlier, prioritizing your work, or setting boundaries with others, let discipline become the force that drives you forward. And as you continue to practice this habit, you will begin to see results. Not just in your productivity or success, but in your sense of self-worth. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about self-respect. It's the daily expression of your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself. Habit 5. Prioritize deep work over shallow distractions. Imagine for a moment that you could achieve unparalleled focus, that the distractions of the modern world, social media, emails, text messages, simply vanished from your mind. Picture yourself in a state of complete immersion, fully absorbed in a task that matters, feeling your energy and creativity flow with effortless power. This is what the Stoics understood when they spoke about living with purpose, about honing your mind to focus deeply on what truly matters. But in our modern world, deep work is increasingly rare. We are bombarded by a constant stream of shallow distractions, notifications, emails, phone calls, news updates, all designed to pull us away from meaningful, focused work. And yet, here's the shocking truth. The more we give in to these distractions, the more we sacrifice the most valuable thing we possess, our attention. Cal Newport, the author of Deep Work, argues that in today's world, the ability to concentrate without distraction has become one of the most valuable skills we can cultivate. He refers to it as deep work, the kind of work that requires sustained focus and intellectual effort, the kind of work that produces extraordinary results, the kind of work that makes a life worth living. This is not a new idea. The Stoics spoke of a similar concept centuries ago. They knew that a distracted mind is a weakened mind, and that without focus, we cannot accomplish anything of true worth. Seneca wrote, "No man can lead a life of ease who is constantly on the move, either in mind or body. To be at rest in one's own mind is the most difficult thing in life." And yet, in today's world, rest is the last thing we find. Our minds are in a constant state of agitation, and the result is a lifetime of shallow work and shallow living. So how can you, in just 1 week, begin to reclaim your focus and prioritize deep work? The first step is this: eliminate distractions. For the next 7 days, set aside specific blocks of time during which you will work in a state of complete focus. During these times, silence your phone, close your email, and disconnect from the internet. Commit yourself fully to the task at hand. This might be a project you've been neglecting, a piece of writing you've been putting off, or even learning a new skill. It doesn't matter what it is, but what does matter is that you give it your undivided attention. The key here is deliberate practice. When you create an environment free from distractions, you create the mental space for true mastery. You will notice how much you can accomplish in just a short period when you are fully present. And over time, this habit will begin to change your entire approach to work. You will no longer drift from one task to another. You will focus on what's important and block out the noise. This is the path to exceptional productivity and personal fulfillment. When you prioritize deep work, you unlock the potential of your mind, and as you do, you will become a force of nature, capable of achieving what most people could only dream of. Habit 6. Practice self-control and temperance in all things. The world today is one of excess. Everywhere you look, there is temptation, pleasure calling to you from every corner, telling you that happiness lies in consumption, indulgence, and indulgence alone. You can have as much as you want, whenever you want it. But what if this pursuit of excess is not the path to happiness, but to misery? The Stoics knew this truth, and they were among the first to challenge the notion that happiness comes from external pleasure. Epictetus famously said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." For the Stoics, the key to a fulfilling life wasn't found in the accumulation of things, but in the discipline to resist the urge for more. In their worldview, true power was found in temperance, in the ability to say no to the things that distracted you from your true purpose. In our modern world, this practice of self-control is more important than ever. We live in an age of hyperconsumption, whether it's food, entertainment, social media, or material possessions. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that more will bring satisfaction. But the Stoics understood that every moment spent chasing after the next thrill or indulgence was a moment wasted. The sixth habit, therefore, is simple but life-changing. Practice self-control and temperance in all things. And here's the challenge for the next 7 days. Identify one area of your life where you have lost control. Perhaps it's food, alcohol, shopping, or even time spent on your phone. Now for the next week, commit to practicing restraint. If you struggle with overeating, set a clear boundary around food. Don't eat out of habit. Don't eat out of boredom. Eat only when you're hungry, and eat only what serves your health and well-being. If you tend to overconsume content online, delete the apps that waste your time and set limits on your internet usage. If you indulge in materialism, begin to practice minimalism. Reduce the number of possessions you own and focus only on what truly serves your purpose. This habit isn't about deprivation. It's about aligning your desires with your values. It's about learning that pleasure is fleeting and that the pursuit of constant indulgence only leads to emptiness. True fulfillment, according to the Stoics, comes from moderation, from finding joy in simplicity and restraint. Over the course of this week, as you practice temperance in one area of your life, you will begin to notice something remarkable. You will feel more alive, more in control, and more connected to your true self. The cravings and impulses that once ruled you will lose their grip. You will realize that you don't need to consume more to be happy. You only need to be more. And as you continue this habit, you will find that your life becomes richer, not because you have more, but because you need less. In the quiet, in the simplicity, you will find a freedom that can never be bought. Habit 7. Cultivate meaningful relationships through empathy and connection. In our fast-paced, digitally connected world, it's easy to mistake the number of connections we have for the depth of those connections. We may have hundreds, even thousands of friends online, but how many of them truly know us? How many of them have seen us in our moments of vulnerability, of struggle, of triumph? True relationships are built not on the number of followers or likes, but on the strength of genuine human connection. The Stoics believe that the quality of our relationships directly influences the quality of our lives. Marcus Aurelius, who was often surrounded by power and wealth, had a deep understanding of this. He wrote, "What is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee." In other words, the health of the individual is intricately tied to the health of the community. A man cannot thrive if his relationships are shallow or fractured. To practice this habit of cultivating meaningful relationships, you must first reflect on the type of connections you currently maintain. Are they based on mutual respect and shared values, or are they fleeting, transactional relationships that offer little more than surface-level interactions? The Stoics knew that the people with whom we surround ourselves shape us. If we wish to become wise, virtuous, and strong, we must seek out those who inspire us, who challenge us, and who push us toward greater growth. So for the next 7 days, you will dedicate time to deepening one or two of your relationships. It could be with a family member, a close friend, or even a colleague. The key is depth. You must engage with them in a way that goes beyond the superficial. This means putting away your phone, asking questions that go beyond the surface level, and listening intently to what they have to say. It means being present and showing empathy. This is where true connection lies, when you share your true self and open yourself to theirs. When you give your time and your energy without expecting anything in return. Now, I want you to take this further. Think about the relationships in your life that drain you, that hold you back, that bring negativity. The Stoics practiced the art of dissociation. They understood the importance of surrounding themselves with people who uplifted them and letting go of toxic relationships. Over the course of this week, make the conscious decision to distance yourself from relationships that do not serve your growth. You will not do this in anger or resentment, but with wisdom and peace. It is not a rejection of others, but a recognition that you must protect your own peace, energy, and purpose. As you practice this habit, you will begin to notice something profound. The more you invest in meaningful relationships, the more you begin to see the world through a compassionate lens. Your empathy will deepen, and you will find that the richness of your connections adds a layer of fulfillment that no material possession or fleeting pleasure ever could. True wealth lies in the people you surround yourself with, the ones who understand your struggles, your dreams, and your journey. They are the ones who make the difficult days easier and the joyful days even brighter. Habit 8. Focus on service to others and find purpose in contribution. The final habit, the one that ties everything together, is the habit of service. In a world that often teaches us to focus on what's in it for me, the Stoics offered a radically different perspective. They understood that true fulfillment is found not in self-centered pursuits, but in the act of contributing to something greater than oneself. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, the best way to avenge yourself is to not be like that. In other words, the best way to heal your soul is not by seeking revenge or retribution, but by pouring yourself into the service of others. This is not just an act of charity, it is a way of life, a mindset that shifts your focus from "I need more" to "How can I help?" The Stoics were deeply committed to the idea that we should live not for our own glory, but for the greater good of humanity. They understood that the greatest joy comes not from what we accumulate, but from what we give away. For the next 7 days, your task is to practice service to others every single day. This could be as simple as helping a neighbor, offering your time to a cause you care about, or providing a listening ear to someone in need. Service does not have to be grand or dramatic. It can be as small as holding the door for someone, offering words of encouragement, or giving your time to volunteer. What matters is that you focus on others and their well-being. But I urge you to take this habit even further. Find a way to contribute in a way that aligns with your deeper purpose. Ask yourself, how can I use my unique gifts, talents, and resources to help others? Perhaps it's mentoring someone younger than you, sharing your knowledge with others, or creating something that will benefit your community. Whatever it is, let it be an act of selfless contribution, a way to leave the world better than you found it. When you begin to live from a place of service, you will feel a profound shift inside you. Your life will begin to feel richer, more meaningful. The pursuit of material success will seem insignificant in comparison to the joy that comes from making a difference in someone else's life. And as the Stoics knew so well, when we make service to others our primary focus, we cease to be ruled by our own petty desires. We become part of something greater, a force for good in the world. By focusing on the service of others, you will discover a new kind of freedom, the freedom that comes from living a life of purpose, meaning, and contribution. You will find that, in giving of yourself, you become the man you were always meant to be. Final thoughts. As we close this transformative journey, let's take a moment to reflect on the core lesson that ties everything together. The power to change your life is in your hands, and it begins with your daily habits. The Stoics, in all their wisdom, knew that the path to personal growth and fulfillment wasn't about waiting for the perfect moment or relying on external circumstances. It was about cultivating the right mindset and discipline each day, shaping your actions to align with your highest values. What you've learned over the past week isn't just a series of tips or strategies. It's a blueprint for a life of purpose, mastery, and serenity. These 8 habits are not meant to be quick fixes or fleeting trends. They are practices that, when consistently applied, will change the very fabric of your existence. By embracing self-awareness through journaling, cultivating radical discipline, prioritizing deep work, practicing self-control, nurturing meaningful relationships, and committing to service, you are laying the foundation for a life of wisdom and strength. This is the Stoic way. This is the way of the wise. But the key is to continue. 1 week of discipline is just the beginning. These habits, once learned, should become a permanent part of your daily life. Transformation is not an event, but a process. Every choice you make, every habit you reinforce, is a step toward the man you are destined to become. Remember that the journey toward becoming your best self is not about perfection. It's about progress. There will be days when you stumble, when distractions pull you off course, or when you lose sight of your purpose. But the Stoics taught us that our power lies not in avoiding failure, but in how we respond to it. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. So, as you move forward, embrace each day as an opportunity to practice these habits with patience and persistence. The life you want to create doesn't happen in a week. It happens in the small, deliberate actions you take every day. And when you look back a year from now, 2 years, 5 years, you will realize that the man you are today is not the same as the man you were before. This is your journey. The Stoics understood that the only way to truly change the world was to first change themselves. And so must you. Start today, start now, and watch as your life transforms before your eyes. Thank you, wisdom seekers, for walking this path with me. Keep applying these habits, keep striving for greatness, and remember, true strength comes not from power or force, but from wisdom, discipline, and the courage to become the man you are meant to be.